What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Cash It. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Adam Ronis. And we are an all-sports podcast. We're giving you everything from fantasy advice to betting advice to making picks against the spread and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Does that about cover it, Adam? While we do that, do we try to entertain as well?
Yes, I would agree. We do cover all those and entertain in the process.
And I would say, you know, if you're a little sensitive to some foul language, you might want to put some earmuffs on because Adam's got a potty mouth. And you just get Adam talking about...
That's not fucking true. What a fucking lie.
And scene. See, look at that. Entertaining. All about it. All right. So
you know, I have to try so hard not to curse on my other shows.
I'm the same way. I told you that I dropped an F-bomb on Sirius XM last week, right?
Oh, you did? No, I didn't know that.
I think it was Friday's show or no. It was last week. I think it was Tuesday's show. I went on a rant because we're just talking about trading in fantasy football. And I was just, it was bumming me out because, you know, so many people sit there and they complain that nobody trades in football. Nobody trades. And one of the things that I kind of brought up was the fact that people don't have conversations. They just sit there and they throw an email out to somebody. They shoot somebody a text. You don't have conversations about these trades. And it was bumming me out and, you know, listening to more and more complaints about trades, but not just complaints about people not trading, but also because, you know, people are making trades that they shouldn't even make in the sense that you're not doing anything to improve your team at all. You're trading a great running back and a mid-level wide receiver for a great wide receiver and a mid-level running back. Is it making your team better? Or are you just getting players who you like more? And I think that's a very key thing. And so I guess I got a little overexcited. I got a little heated while it was going on. And I think it was the next segment. We went to break, we came back, and then next segment, I started talking about something, and I basically was just about to say, I don't give a fuck what you do. But, you know, of course, it's Sirius XM, so I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care what you do.
A little bit.
I got the pho. I didn't get the kuh in there. So I was safe, but I don't think I've done that. I think the last time I did that was probably when I was working the Sunday night show like 10 years ago. It's tough. It's tough, especially when I do the show with you because you've got such a potty mouth.
Yeah, I'm such a bad influence. Blame me.
I do feel like it's your influence. It is.
Okay.
Because I'm not in New York anymore. I'm out in California where everything's, you know, easy breezy. Hey, man, it's okay, man. It's okay. Don't get so worked up. And you're just like, the fucking Mets, though. Bastard.
What time do the Yankees play tonight?
Well, now that's just being hurtful. That's just
really? You took jabs at me last week, so how's it feel now?
You took jabs at me last week, too.
Oh, I didn't. I said the Astros are going to win because that's what I truly felt. And boy, did they ever. I mean, it was a sweep.
Well, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close, which is a great way to transition into some baseball betting talk. Astros favorite. They're like a 190 favorite in this. I mean, obviously you don't want to bet 190. I mean, listen, I'll bet 190 if I'm just going to make a couple of bucks because I'm pretty damn sure that the Astros are going to win this. Do you find value on betting any of the individual games? Do you bet how many games the series is going to go? Is there any MLB betting that you that you think is worthwhile for the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, you could do how many games, or you could do the individual games. Look, the Astros are clearly the better team. They have yet to lose a playoff game, but I'm a little scared that Phillies have this magical run in them. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing. And I know going into the year, a lot of people thought this team could be good. And I know Bryce Harper missed time with injury. Zach Wheeler missed time. And I've said this before, it's not like the Phillies finished the season strong and just got hot. They limped into the playoffs. They were 8-13 over the last 21 games, 4-8 over the last 12. And it was Milwaukee that just kind of let them slide in. If Milwaukee played better, Philly might not have been in. And then game one against St. Louis, they're down 2-0 in the ninth inning and they put up 6. And all of a sudden they can't lose. And Bryce Harper, you can't get him out right now. You got Schwarber and Hoskins, the up and down of Gene Segura, who makes a great play and then makes a dumb play. They got Wheeler and Nola, but I think the Astros just have too much here. My concern that I had with the Phillies, even in this previous series against the Padres, was after Wheeler and Nola, what are they going to get from Ranger Suarez, and then Bailey Falter couldn't make it out of the first inning, and their bullpen, which has been better, but Zach Eflin, they're asking to get a lot out of the bullpen, and Robertson. Dominguez has been pretty good, and even Alvarado, who I've always liked, but the problem with him, and you see it in the playoffs, is he can just lose command of the strike zone at times. So, I mean, clearly the Astros are the better team, but I'm a little scared that Phillies just kind of have this magic run and they might be able to pull this out. And I hope I'm wrong. I do not want them to win. But again, because everything points to the Astros winning, right? Like, they're the better team. They've been the best team all year. They have so much depth in the pitching staff. Even if one of their starters fails, they can bring in Luis Garcia out of the pen. And we saw what he did against Seattle in that extra inning game. Their bullpen has been phenomenal. They got a bunch of guys who can beat you throughout the lineup. They're good defensively. I guess the one thing, I don't know if you've seen it, Justin Verlander's career stats in the World Series are terrible. So maybe you want to be on against the Astros in game one. I don't know with Aaron going. But yeah, I mean, I think the Astros win, but I know a lot of people oh yeah, Astros are better. Definitely. I'm a little worried that Philly kind of has this magical run that maybe they knock off Houston, and that would suck. I mean, and if they do, man, you talk about a ridiculous postseason run, because they had the fewest wins of any postseason team, right? 87. I don't think anyone in the American League had fewer than 87, right?
No. They had the fewest, absolutely, of all the playoff teams.
It's insane, yeah, because Seattle had 90. Oh, no, Tampa had 86. So Tampa had the fewest.
Oh.
But still, oh, man, 3 100-win teams in an.
So is that like, I mean, I'm not. It's not a matter of poking the bear or anything like that. But do you not want this magic? You feel this magical run? Is that more self-deprecating because you think God hates you because you're a Mets fan kind of a situation, or do you just
no, you don't? It has nothing to do with that. It has.
You don't subscribe to the whole. I'd rather, if my team's not going to win, I'd rather us be losing to the team that does eventually win.
Well, the Mets didn't play the Phillies in the playoffs.
No, you didn't. But the Phillies are the ones who are coming out of the NL, which is
I don't want them to win. I don't want a division. I had to deal with the Braves and the Nationals in the last few years. I don't need another team in the division to win. So no, I don't want them to win at all. But I mean, look, they beat the Braves, who were the hottest team since June 1st, and they won it. And they basically dusted the Braves pretty easily, man. I mean, game one, they had the lead and it got close, but they were ahead the whole way. They lose game 2, 3-0. Then they win 9-1 and 8-3. I mean, that Philly crowd is electric. They don't lose at home. I mean, they've had 4 games in the postseason at home. They've won 9-1, 8-3, 4-2, and 10-6. And the Padres, had them, was close to winning game 5, and then Bryce Harper with a 2-run homer in the 8th inning. And I don't know why they didn't bring in Josh Hader there. What are you saving him for? You really want Bryce Harper against a righty? Bring in Josh Hader. I know it was the 8th inning, but your season's on the line. So I didn't get that, but they're just playing great baseball right now. And we saw last year, the Braves got hot at the right time. The bullpen was lights out, and you're seeing it again with the Phillies.
We're seeing it again. All right. Well, so listen, I'm rooting against the Astros. I'm rooting for the Phillies.
I know that
only because, man, I can't get behind the Houston Astros. And, maybe there's a shred of Jen Piacenti in there that also, because she and I, we go back and forth all the time, and we jab each other about baseball. So, there is that, but. Also, I mean, listen, from an analyst standpoint, a fantasy player standpoint, I mean, how do you not love Alvarez, and how do you not love, just this whole Astros team? Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker are going to be 2 long-term, really strong assets for the
Jeremy
Astros.
Pena. The ALCS MVP.
Jeremy Pena, yeah. Again, that one kind of came from out of nowhere. That was a huge shocker. was almost as good as when Scott Brosius won the World Series with the Yankees, and he was like this amazing third baseman just for that 1 year. He could
He's
hit.
just been good though the whole year. Like I drafted him in some draft champions leagues before. I mean, at that point we didn't know where Correa was going. Right. So I was like, I kind of had a feeling he wasn't coming back. So I'm like, all right, let me. And in the early drafts, you were able to get Pena cheap. Once obviously he got the job, he moved up. But it's still definitely kind of surprising that he had the year that he had. But not surprising that he won ALCS MVP based on what we saw from him this year. He had a really good year for the Astros.
Is he considered a rookie?
Yeah, this is his first year in the league. I know he's 24, 25.
It feels like he's older, but obviously, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's rookie of the year, a little MVP. Nice stuff, man. And it pains me, right? It's the Astros. I hate the Astros.
I know, but I mean, I think at least most Yankee fans that I talked to, all of them felt that they were not going to be Houston.
Oh, I definitely knew we weren't going to be Houston. I thought we talked about it. I mean, it was going to take like some crazy magical run. The aura and mystique of being in Yankee Stadium and playing there. And you needed a lot of things to break right. I was not.
It's crazy because I thought like Houston to me was like pretty easy to come out of the AL. I just didn't see anyone challenging them. In the NL, I thought 4 teams had a shot to go to the World Series. The Phillies were not one of them. So, it's crazy. They just got hot, man. I mean, some people were telling me, well, they didn't have Bryce Harper and Zach Wheeler. Every team has fucking injuries, man. I don't want to hear it. Every team dealt with shit.
Yeah. No. Listen, it's the thing that I hate the most about the end of a season is that the excuses just come pouring out of people. It's like, listen, the Yankees were a flawed team. Yeah. We knew that they were a flawed team. And then their whole bullpen got hurt. They couldn't put anything together. So, we lost. That was it. We move on. We live to fight another day and we go after it. When people start making excuses and, this and that and whatever, no, just wherever you finish, you finish. And if you win the whole thing, great fucking job. Very proud of you. I like it. I picked the Phillies to win the NL. I had them losing the World Series to the White Sox, but I at least had the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people before the year thought this was a good team. And then obviously they struggled. They fired Girardi and, they turned things around. But like I said, it's not like they came into September on fire. They didn't. They limped in. I don't think people realize that. They really just got hot in the postseason. And it was really game 1 where they were down 2-0 in the 9th. And the Cardinals kind of imploded. But, you saw last year, the Braves won the World Series with 88 wins. You had the Giants with 107, the Dodgers with 106, the Tampa with 100, and the Braves go in with the fewest amount of wins in the National League of the playoffs team, 88, get hot, the Braves, and win it all. So you're probably going to see this a lot in baseball in the future if you're going to expand it and have 12 teams get in the playoffs. Now, the Braves did win the division last year, and they were a good team. It's just, they had the Acuna injury and won without him. But, the Phillies backed in and got hot.
It is the ultimate microcosm of the fantasy sports world right here, because it's why I say in fantasy football, just make the playoffs. That's all you need to do is make the playoffs. You don't need to win every game. I don't give a shit if you're 12-0. Like people post their records to me, when they're like locked into us, I'm 8-3 and I'm looking to, get the number 1 overall seat. Whatever, dude. Just put out your best lineup and win. That's what the fucking goal is. But if you're, an on the bubble team, just make the playoffs. Don't worry about it. Like people sit there and they freak out. They're like, I'm 4-0 right now. I'm super psyched about my team. Don't worry. Again, if you take a loss, it's not the end of the world. And that's right there. It's diluted playoffs. It's how anything can happen once you make the playoffs. So in the fantasy realm, just make the playoffs. In reality, they're trying to make it a little, I mean, obviously it's a straight up money grab. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that brings about in real life sports the fantasy aspect of just make the playoffs. It's all you got to do. Just make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I tell everyone now. Teams with 2-5, 3-4 records, you're not out of it. Injuries. Well, it was a big week of injuries in week 7,
Yep.
and a lot of teams got hurt, and there'll be more teams that get hurt. So you just got to keep plugging away and just get in the playoffs. Doesn't matter what your record is. Once you get in, you could have your roster could be at the strongest point at any point of the season. There will be guys coming off waivers that win championships. Like, it's been so long ago, I don't remember who the guys were last year that were picked up off the waiver wire in weeks 15, 16, 17. But I know there were a couple running backs that came in and helped people win titles.
Rashad Penny last year.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, he finished the season as one of the best running backs late in the season. And he definitely was available off the waiver wire. So, you hang in there, you just get in, and you never know, you pick up a player like that or two. I mean, look, there's teams right now you're looking at like, damn, this team is good. It's unbeatable. I guarantee you that's going to change in 5 weeks.
Oh, it's already. I mean, this is a tough week for me for NFL. You know what? Let's just because there's nothing else I care about talking with the Phillies or the Astros. I'm not betting it. I'm with you. If I'm going to lay a bet, I'm going to say either the Astros sweep or the Astros in 5. That's where I'm at. I'm not even afraid of like sprinkling a little something onto a Phillies magical run. It's not exactly worth it for me to do that because I get it. I just don't believe in it. So I'm not going to put some money behind it. So let's move over to some football, some fantasy football. Injury is just absolutely bonkers. But it's bye weeks. Kansas City, here's the problem when you tell people that they should invest heavily in the AFC West players, and you've got the Chargers and the Chiefs on the bye this week. That is, it's put me in quite the bind as far as waivers go. I actually had to go out there and like put actual legitimate money on Marquise Goodwin, and I don't even feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many teams that don't have reliable options at this point. It's actually only 2 teams are by this week, but yeah, the Chiefs are a prolific offense. And if you have Mahomes, that hurts. And the Chargers have a lot of injuries anyway. Once again, we know Mike Williams is going to be out at least 4 weeks. We'll see if I would assume Keenan Allen is good to go after the bye, but he didn't play in the second half this past week. And Palmer should be back from his concussion. And we got 6 teams on bye coming up next week. But yeah, if you have a lot of Chiefs and Chargers, it could be a tough week. And then the injuries, with DK Metcalf, I don't think he'll play. I know they're like, yeah, we're taking a day by day. Yeah, he's not playing. Come on. Alan Lazard likely out. Looks like Zeke could be out this week as well. I know they haven't officially ruled him out, and Zeke.
Yeah, we're getting conflicting reports on that.
I think the Cowboys need to step in. They didn't do it last year and be like, look, you're sitting this week. We have a bye next week. You'll get 3 weeks off. You're not playing this week. We dealt with it last year. We let you fight through it. We love your heart and grit to play through things. But you saw last year you weren't effective. You're sitting this week. They need to do it. Let Pollard go out there. Obviously you would say, oh, they're going to beat the Bears. Well, after what we saw with the Bears Monday, maybe it's not a gimme, even though Cowboys are favored by 9.5. But if I'm the Cowboys, I'm telling Zeke you're sitting. That's it. They have to step in and say, you're not playing.
Yeah, they definitely do. Tony Pollard more than capable of shouldering the load, more than capable of it.
Right. And you don't even need to give him 20 carries. I think he's never had more than 14 in an NFL game, but give him 15 carries, 5-6 targets, and maybe open up the passing game a little bit with Dak in a second week back. But they should not be playing him.
No, they're playing the Bears this week. So, let Tony Pollard run against a soft run defense and just kind of move on from there. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the with that.
Deebo Samuel's got a hamstring issue that no one's really talking about, but he could be out.
Why is that? Do you find like it's really weird? I feel like we're getting a lot of injuries that really they're just kind of sneaking up on us, or they're really like people just are ignoring them for some reason.
Well, I think, because Zeke took the hit to his knee during the game. He did come back. But,
yes.
I always say, there's going to be a lot of injuries, especially on Wednesdays that pop up because guys maybe played through it in the game, maybe the swelling is a day or two later, and that's when they're first coming back to the facility or whatever, or the pain comes back a couple of days later. So obviously we know Metcalf because he left the game, and those are obvious ones. But and the 49ers, I believe, have a bye next week. So in this situation, again, it's a hamstring injury. You don't want guys coming back and re-aggravating it. You saw with Jahan Dotson, he was in practice and pulled up, and Keenan Allen, he came back and said it was still bothering him and didn't play the second half. So you don't want to mess around with hamstring injuries. So I know this is a big game for the 49ers, divisional, they're 3-4, but you can't risk Debo missing an extended period of time.
No, I mean, listen, I'm always about that. I'm always about rest the guy and not lose them long term. I mean, I understand that the players are competitive, and I understand that there's value to the offense, but then you see so many times like, is the player trying to play through the injury? Is that actually a little bit more detrimental to the team in the long run, right? And that's, I think, one of the biggest issues that. Yeah, that's why you can't let players self-diagnose themselves. Can't do it. Can't do it. I know Jerry likes to. I know Jerry thinks that he's a doctor, but he's not. He's not. Are you getting tagged with injuries and bye weeks also? Or are you getting hit hard? Like I said, this is a tough one for me because I'm losing, like Mahomes in GST. Mahomes and Kelsey for me in GST has been, money in the bank, and now I gotta I had Jameis Winston sitting on my bench, and now guess what? He's benched. He's done.
Yeah. I mean, I have some injuries here and there. I don't think I have many Chiefs this year, which obviously is kind of bad. In Chargers, I think most of my Mike Williams is best ball. I don't have Keenan Allen, don't have Herbert. I do have Gerald Everett in a league. No Eckler. So yeah, I don't buys not really this week. It's injuries. Losing Breece Hall for the season hurts.
Yes.
Hollywood Brown was a big injury, man. People don't realize Hollywood Brown was playing great, man. That is a killer for me in multiple leagues. And now he's on IR too. So I've held on to him. I think one league I have an IR spot. I have him in the GST. We don't have IR spots, but I'm holding him. That's a really deep league. Although I could be out of it by the time he comes back, depending on how things go. But yeah, it's weird because some of my leagues are really good and others are just mediocre. And then I don't know, man, I'm seeing more this year with the points differential. Like, so I'm helping my friend in his office league, and he's got a really good team. He's got like the third most points in the league, and he's 2-5. Like, he has more points than the top 3 teams in the league. And it's just like,
I feel like he tweets that out to me.
He doesn't. It's not him. But,
because it's funny because there's a guy who's hitting me up, and he showed me his team, and I was like, dude, it's just straight up bad luck that you're getting right now, because this team is a banger team. You're just getting hit with some really bad luck. You're running into teams with really great weeks, and then you're just kind of, like, it's like your guys are being caught with this weird, like, off week.
I know, and it sucks. Like, even my home league, we do double headers, right? There's 2 teams in my league that are 11-3. I'm 6-8. I have 3 points less than one of them and 9 less than the other. They're 11-3. I'm 6-8. This is with double headers. So that's not even offsetting it. It's just every week I'm going up against the high score. And even with the double headers, it still doesn't matter. So, I mean, it's not like I'm like 6th in the league in points, but it's kind of bunched up. Like, the number 1 team is just far away ahead of everyone. Then there's a 2 team, but then it's like 1284, 1282, 1276, 1274, and I'm at 1273. So it's kind of really bunched up, but the records don't show it. I mean, 2 teams at 11-3. So that's why I looked at it because I was a couple of weeks ago, I think I started 1-5. Actually, I start 1-7. I think I did. And I've never been in that spot before my home league. I'm like, yo, what is going on? And I looked at my team and I was like, man, if I don't start getting some wins, I'm just going to, because I started with Barkley Diggs. It's a good combo. And I'm like, I'm just going to trade 1 or 2 of them for like 7 players if I have to. Then I looked at it and I'm like, you know what? It's not that bad. And we do reward the final spot for total points, top 5 records. And that's with double headers. So I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I'm still right here in the playoff race. So I'm really not going to do anything drastic and just roll with my guys. And the bye week last week really hurt me because I have Diggs and Gabriel Davis in this league. So getting them back is huge.
Listen, 7-5, 7-6, that makes the playoffs in a lot of leagues.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're 2-5 and you're third most in points, like, yeah, you're just getting tagged with some bad luck. It's unfortunate.
But it depends, though. See, here's the thing: if and that league only does records. Now it is 6 teams, but you got to string wins together. You can't afford you really need to go like on a 4-game winning streak. Like you lose this week, you're starting to be in trouble. Like you.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm capping it 7-6. 7-6 gets you into the playoffs, probably.
Well, 14 weeks now, so even 7-7, you might get in a league with 6 teams making a league.
Oh, I'm just assuming that nobody's playing the final week of the season.
Well, no, it's playoffs start week 15 for most leagues, 15, 16, 17. So you got 14 regular season games.
15, 16, 17. Oh, yeah. So you do have that many. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm so used to getting the first round bye in the playoffs that I just lost count.
Well, no, they added an extra week.
Dude, I'm kidding.
Okay, I was going to say.
Wait, they did what?
No, people can forget at times. It just started last year, so you're accustomed to a certain way, and then you're like, oh, shit. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yes, my Jets, they'll finish 9-8. Hey, what'd you think of the Jets grabbing James Robinson?
Not really excited about it. I don't know if Robinson has a lot left. I know he had a couple good games early in the year, but a lot of it was like on 2-3 long runs. I still think Michael Carter will probably be the better back. I just don't think they want him to be a full-time bell cow running back. But I think he gets most of the passing down work. They'll ease Robinson in. And again, like a lot of people, it was funny, like the first 2-3 weeks. Oh, look at these running backs coming from the Achilles. They're so good. Look at Akers and Robinson. And now we're like, maybe not. So it's still a tough injury to come back from. So I was talking to a Jets fan today. He wanted Kareem Hunt. I'm like, the asking price was probably higher. I mean, that's the one thing. You didn't give up anything for Robinson. A 6th round pick that could be a 5th, big deal. And I applaud the Jets for staying in it. They should be going for it. It's wide open. And yeah, they're a young team, and there's still questions about Wilson at quarterback, and Vera Tucker was a big loss. But you know what? Show that you want to create a winning culture here. So I'm glad that they're going for it. The injuries definitely hurt. And I hope they beat New England this week.
Well, I always hope that we beat New England, no doubt about it. Yeah, it's funny. Like I'm caught between two issues with the Jets. Obviously, it's exciting going after and getting James Robinson, even though you didn't give anything up for him, but to go out and aggressively go after him like that was huge. I've never seen. It's a very un-Jet-like thing to do. And in all my years as a fan, I was joking around with it on the Fantasy Alarm show today. I was talking about it in my love letter. I've seen 4 AFC championships in 51 years of football. Now, granted, fine. When I was 1 and 2 years old, I wasn't watching football like I watch it now, but I've had a couple of winning seasons here. The Jets have never had that like killer instinct to say, we're 5-2. We're still in this. We can replace him. Yes, it sucks that we lost him, but let's not lose steam with what we're put together right now. So like to see that, it excites me as a Jets fan. It gets me all sorts of ways. The juices are flowing, baby. Juices are flowing. But yeah, on the other hand, it's like, okay, listen, I like Robinson. I like the player. He is coming back from that Achilles. There is some knee soreness that he was dealing with. He was falling out of favor in Jacksonville. Now, falling out of favor in Jacksonville doesn't affect me that much because once they drafted ETN and Trevor Lawrence together, the handwriting was on the wall. That was exactly the direction that they wanted to move as a team. And so Robinson's days were already kind of numbered. Like you just said, the offensive line, Elijah Vera Tucker gone for the season. They just had to put George Fant, the left tackle. He went onto IR, so he's gone. And this all happens with an offensive line that's already been shuffled up because you lost Mekhi Becton earlier in the season. So I'm worried about the offensive line. To me, James Robinson was never going to be Breece Hall. What I thought and what I'm hoping for, and something that we're just going to see and we're going to watch, Michael Carter, I agree with you. He's the pass catching back. He's the third down guy. They'll weave him in like they did early on in the season when it was Carter and Breece Hall. Breece Hall showed his abilities and pushed Carter down the depth chart, showed the Jets that there was no reason to use Carter when you could use Breece Hall as often as you're using Breece Hall. I feel like Robinson does have the opportunity to do that. I just don't know if he's going to, and I think it's going to take a couple of weeks before the Jets start to gel with their running game and their offensive line. So I think it's going to be a little bit rough early on, but overall, I mean, listen, Robinson went from being on the fantasy scrap heap to RB2 status if he's going to get a substantial chunk of the carries.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people probably held on to him, or maybe they were about to drop him after this past week.
I was about to drop him in 2 leagues.
Yeah, so now you're like, oh, wait a second, I'll just hold on to him, and yeah, might not be heavily used this week in his first week, but as they go along, and they got a tough stretch coming up. Patriots, Bills, bye, Patriots again.
Wait, say that again.
Patriots, Bills, bye week, Patriots again.
Patriots, Bills, bye week, Patriots again. Well, if there's a time to be roughed up, that would definitely do it. That's man. What's up with the schedule makers? That's not a good, I'm not even worried about the offense of the Patriots. It's that Patriots defense.
Yeah, especially coming off that Monday night, whatever the fuck that was against the Bears.
Oh, I mean, dude, that was terrible.
I think I don't know if I texted you about it or talked to you, but the NFL was just summarized up in week 7. You had Tampa Bay, a 13.5-point favorite in Carolina. Not only did they lose, they didn't score a touchdown. And then you had the Patriots minus 8.5 at home. We talked about last week. Yeah, how are we going to take the Bears? I don't see any reason to take the Bears. If the Patriots were playing good, they shut out Detroit. They forced 4 turnovers against Cleveland. Chicago's near the bottom in all these offensive categories. Belichick all week, talking up Fields, talking up Mooney. We're all sitting there yeah, you're full of shit. And then all of a sudden, they're fucking getting demolished. And you also had the Circus Survivor where the Patriots and Bucks were 2 of the top 3 teams. 94% of the pool was out going into week 7. Now you just knocked off, I think, 46% of the Patriots? It's insane. I've heard some Survivor pools that are over already.
The 2 main ones, 3 main ones that I do, I'm already out completely in 2 of them. And that's with multiple picks. It's just been.
I'm not surprised. This has been just an absolute bloodbath every single week. I write the article, and last year, I got hardly anything wrong. I had a 1-2 week this week. I put the Patriots, Bucks, and Raiders. Hopefully, someone took my Raiders pick, and it's just mind-boggling. A 13.5-point favorite lost. You hardly ever see that. Yeah, they don't cover many times. We see it all the time. To just lose, and especially since Tampa Bay the previous week lost to Pittsburgh. It's insane. And the Patriots one, someone I was talking to was yeah, man, they were in the Circus Survivor, and they were yeah, man, I took the Patriots. I was going to take the Cowboys, but I was saving them for next week. I'm dude, you didn't make a bet. The Patriots, I mean, if you were going to use them, isn't that the time to use them at home against the Bears, where Belichick was trying to also break the coaching wins with Hallis against the Bears? He was tied at 324. Again, I didn't see any way the Patriots lose that game. They were starting to come on. You want to tell me, well, what about the quarterback situation? That's hindsight, man. No one picked the Bears to win that game. If you do, show me your money line ticket.
Yeah. I'm looking at my main Survivor pool, and I'm looking at it right now. 178 people had the Patriots and the Buccaneers. Wow. I'm just looking at, it was more than half the field is gone from that. This one started, the whole thing started with 1,222 entries.
How many are left?
172.
Yeah, man. It's a bloodbath.
It is an absolute bloodbath. It is an absolute bloodbath. And now I gotta figure out I've got one team, and I'll tell you what, this is the great thing. The one team that I have, this pool has buyback rule, and that's why this pot gets as crazy as it does. It's $50 for an entry, and then you have the opportunity to buy back into the pool up through week 8 for $100. So with all the people who are in the pool originally, that's why you got over 1,200 entries right now, because people are just piling in. And so my final team that I have coming into week 8, I can still buy back. So I feel very, very good about that.
I mean, look at this stat: the Circa Survivor pool in 2020 at this time, 74.8% of entries were eliminated. Last year at this time, 47.8%. This year, 98% are gone.
That's insane,
right? I mean, oh man, yeah, it's been difficult, man. Just like
it's insane.
And between fantasy and betting and Survivor, because the first 4 weeks I was great betting, and the last couple weeks it's been hovering around 500.
Yeah, I mean, my winning percentage. I mean, yeah, I definitely started off the season really well. I slumped for like a week, maybe 2, where I was just kind of average, but I've kind of hit the groove where I'm actually, I mean, because obviously like I do the picks over, for picks wise, and I bet those on the side. I don't bet those like with my normal betting, because those are just the games that I'm writing up. And I always say, I will, if I'm writing it, I'm going to play it. But I've got like, my picks wise kind of not an account. It's the same stuff. I'm just tracking all of that for like my own personal bets for the ones that I like, because I don't always get first pick of the games to write up over at picks wise. Right. So some of the games are games that, like that I really wanted to bet that somebody else took. So I was like, okay, I didn't get to do that, but I'm betting that in my own account. So, I do it that way with that. But yeah, I'm doing probably I'm probably about 59% on the season still. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm feeling all right. Now I got to figure out what team I'm going to use. Now, granted, I can lose this week and buy back in, but who wants to do that? I don't need to spend more money. I don't even know where I'm going to go with this game. Are you ready for these options?
Okay.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Jaguars, Broncos. These are the teams I have left. Jaguars and Broncos playing each other. Cardinals and Vikings playing each other. The Lions at home against the Dolphins. I can do the Cowboys over the Bears. I can do the Bears over the Cowboys too. Saints and Raiders playing each other. I can use either one of them. Panthers, Falcons. I can use either one of them. Patriots, Jets. I could use either one of them. I can use the Steelers over the Eagles. No. I can do either the Titans or the Texans. I can do either the Giants or the Seahawks. I can do either the Niners or the Rams. I can do either the Commanders or the Colts. These are shit games. And I've got the Browns available if I want them over the Bengals. Like the Cowboys is like the easy pick.
It has to be.
But is that, or am I getting fucked on that? Is that this week's Tampa Bay and
I hope not. Yeah, I mean, because them and the Bills are the 2 biggest favorites of the week. So I'm sure people used the Bills already.
I did.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a tough week.
Like you got to go with the Cowboys, but you can't feel good about it.
I mean, do you feel good about any game you pick right now from what we've seen this year? No, right. Even though I wrote up Tampa last week, I didn't feel good about it, but I'm like, You're playing a team that went through a coaching change, that traded a receiver, traded their best running back, and a team that was coming off a bad loss. Okay, but did I feel good? I haven't felt good about Tampa all year long.
If I
I
had the
did feel good
Eagles
about the Patriots, though. I did not see them losing. I was just sitting there stunned, like, is this really happening? Even when it was 10-0, I'm like, okay, they're going to come back, and they did. And then the Bears just continued to run the fucking ball down their throat.
It's crazy. It was absolutely nuts. Literally, the only game on the slate on this week that I would have any kind of confidence is if I had the Eagles going up against the Steelers.
Yeah, and there's only one game this week that has two teams with winning records: Giants, Seahawks. That's it.
Ugh. It's a tough week. Can't believe I'm going to have to root for the Cowboys this week. It's painful.
You'll be fine.
It's painful. Yeah, you know what? I will be fine because there's a lot. I'm very excited about this pool. Very excited about it. Let's see how much is left. There's how much is in this. Dun, 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 dun. It's not the circa million. Sorry, this is just a friend of mine's pool. $170,000.
That's still a nice prize.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, not me, man. I'd hate that. If I won this by myself, dude, I'd win this with like 10 other people and not give a shit. It is unbelievable. All right, let's listen, we did the Survivor talk here. Let's get to the week's games. Why not? Why not take a look at game lines here? Where's all my bets? Come on, where are my game lines? There we go. All right, you ready?
Yes.
You sure?
No.
Oh, by the way, the reason there's no money in your PayPal account is because I did not win my parlay yesterday.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It was unfortunate. I blame Peppa and Grande. It wasn't any of the plays that you gave me. It was those two guys.
Yeah, tough.
No, I'm just kidding. It was one of yours too.
Which one? Ivy?
Yeah, the Ivy one didn't hit.
Yeah, I bet that myself. Though, so this was last second. It actually broke during our show because Gilgeous-Alexander was ruled out the day before, and then he's questionable. Then during our show, they're like, he's playing. I gave it out to him like, points and assists for Gilgeous-Alexander. Hammer it over 32.5, and he crushed it easily. And I'm going to go right back to it on Thursday against the Clippers. Paul George should be back, but if Gilgeous-Alexander is active, I'm playing it again. He's just been crushing it every game this year, points and assists.
Well, that's a shame I didn't get to play that in my little boosted parlay. Thank you, Underdog. It was very nice of you guys to give me that boosted parlay. You got my $5. You got my $5 back. I played an NFL contest. I did one of the little NFL drafts. I finished in the money in my group, and my prize was obviously the money, but then I also got the booster with the Luka Doncic it was over under 30.5, and getting that as the booster. And then I hit you up. I hit Grande and Mpemba up and just kind of got their feel for what they liked on the props and gave it my all. It just didn't happen. Didn't even happen. I actually forgot about it until I looked everything up this morning. So that was how much basketball was on my mind.
I see.
All right, let's go to the NFL games right now. We'll start off with Thursday night, Adam. The Ravens, the Bucks. Ravens have Gus Edwards, Mark Andrews, and Rashad Bateman all questionable. The Bucks say Julio is a game time decision. Not that ever matters, but Russell Gage is out. Cameron Brate is out as well for Tampa Bay. It's almost a pick 'em. Bucks are favored as a home team by 1 point. Who do you like?
Don't like this game at all. I would never bet it at all. If I had to make a bet, oh man.
I mean, it's not even that. I mean, who do you think wins this game is really what it comes down to. Do the Bucks come back and win and bounce back from looking like absolute dog shit? Or do the Ravens win because they're just the better team?
I think I'll go with the Bucks, but I don't feel good about it. It's hard to endorse them after what we've seen.
Yeah.
Brady looks, I don't know, he looks bad too. Like you've seen his face and everything. Like, oh man.
The
But
stress, the wear and tear, a divorce. I mean, come on, there's a lot of shit going on.
I know. And the Ravens have been a really good team that have led most of the year. It's really the second half collapses that have cost them. But oh man, I guess I'll take the Buck. Well, now they're favored though. I liked them earlier when they were 2-point underdogs. I'll go the Ravens, but I am not betting this game at all.
I'm not betting this game at all here, and I will take the Ravens getting the point, just because. I tried to get to like Tom after he left the Patriots and everything that was happening for him in Tampa Bay, but I'm just done with it. I'm ready to move on. Denver, Jacksonville. I wrote this up for picks wise. Originally, I feel like did this open at 3 or 3.5, and it's down at 2.5 now? Because I feel like it was at least 3, where I was like, all right, you know what? I mean, if it's 3 points, I want to be on the Denver side of getting the points, and it went down to 2.5. I mean, here's the thing: Broncos defense
Really
has
good.
given up 16 or fewer. They're giving up an average of 16.4 points.
They've allowed 3 passing touchdowns this year. 2 of them came in week 1 of Geno Smith.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy how good this Denver's defense is and how underrated this Denver defense is. So they're doing a great job containing teams. The problem is that they can't fucking score points to save their lives. I want so badly to take the Denver Broncos with the 2.5 points, but I think that this is one of those games where it's like fucking 10-9, and all of a sudden, somebody kicks a field goal or whatever the case may be. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Jags actually win this by a field goal.
I'll take Denver. It looks like Russell Wilson's going to play. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'll take Denver here.
I just can't take him on the road. If it were at home,
it's London.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, even worse. Even worse. The Jags love London. The Jags love London.
That's a shit game.
It is a shit game. It's dog shit. Jets, Patriots. I hate even thinking about betting this game. Patriots are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 40.5. I mean, what's that tell you? The Jets have to run the ball on the Patriots. It's one of the things that you have to do against New England. You have to run the ball. So a lot of Michael Carter. But for the same token, we're going to see a lot of Stevenson on the other side. I don't have a feel for this game. I don't have a vibe on this game. I think that I'm being too much of a Jets fan to even recommend taking either side.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots coming off a loss and being embarrassed. No, I want the Jets to win.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots coming off an embarrassing loss the way they did. I gotta think they bounced back in a big way, and the injuries to the Jets and no Brees Hall will hurt them in this game. So I still think they can win, but I would take the Patriots here.
Patriots indeed. Steelers on the road in Philadelphia. Eagles coming off of a bye week. They're a 10.5 point favorite. I absolutely hate laying these kind of points, especially with that extra hook in there. Just, garbage time. The Eagles, I know that they shored up their defense even more today with the trade with the Bears. Man, I mean, I hate laying 10.5. I think on principle, I wouldn't bet this game, but I think on principle, if I had to make a pick, it would be the Steelers plus the 10.5. I don't think the Eagles absolutely blow them out.
Yeah, or you could see a backdoor cover. The one thing, if you look at the Eagles, they're great in the first half, and then they kind of take it easy in the second half. I don't know why, but that's been happening. I mean, you saw it against Dallas, right? They dominated early, and Dallas came back in that game.
Yeah.
And, Pittsburgh does have some weapons. If Pickett cannot turn it over, I mean, with Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Freiermuth. So, yeah, I mean, I see it 11 in some spots too. So I would probably take the points. I'd be scared. Again, I'm not going to do it. But if you're
Right.
asking me to take one, I'd probably take the points with Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Miami, Detroit. Miami's favored by 3.5. I mean, I really do love Miami to win this game.
Yeah, me too.
I really
I'm,
do.
I'm taking it.
I got it. I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I think I did. No, I didn't.
Oh,
Did I
dude,
write?
the
Did I write
Dolphins
this up? I don't think I wrote this.
Dolphins fucked me on Sunday night. I did a 5-leg same game parlay. The
Yeah.
only leg that lost, Dolphins over 16 and a half points. They scored 16 and they didn't kick that fucking field goal. And they run a dumb play with Chase
Dude,
Edmonds.
I had Dolphins laying 7.5, and I had to sit and watch a fucking scoreless second half
Dude.
between these two shit teams.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that's the leg I lose on? Because there wasn't a lot that I like. I took Tyreek 65 yards or more, Waddle 50 yards or more, Pickens 30 or more, shit like that. And I'm like, looking one last leg. I'm like, oh, the Dolphins should score 17. I'll take the over 6. And that's the leg that lost.
And that's the leg that lost. Yeah, I can't argue against it.
I mean, I like the Dolphins here. I don't understand what happened. Like, they came out that first drive, Tua was slinging it, they were moving it, and then all of a sudden they fucking were like, I don't know. But Detroit defense sucks. All of a sudden their offense is not as good as it was early in the year. It looks like Swift might be back, but I'll believe it. He put in a full practice Wednesday. Doesn't mean anything to me. St. Brown should be fine, but I mean, Tua has played well with Tyreek and Waddle. I know that Hook is always a concern. But I'm taking the Dolphins here, man.
I'm taking the Dolphins too. Listen, I wrote up the if you look at the DFS watch list over at fantasyalarm.com, I made a joke out of it. We were talking on the Fantasy Alarm show about overused cliches in fantasy sports, and Smash Spot is one that has really turned into a very trite cliche that this guy's in a smash spot. You got to start him. So I basically, every time I wrote up a Dolphin, I talked about the fact that it's a smash spot for them. I love Tua in this game. I like Tyreek. I like Waddle as well. I like Gesicki. I like Mostert.
That's really good, man.
It's really like, I feel like this is like when the over under is 51.5. I definitely, I want a piece of the over. I know that the under is actually the better odds. They say it's minus 115 for the under. But yeah, I feel like a little bit of a track meet because Miami's defense isn't what it was, and their secondary definitely struggles. So I don't hate Goff and the Lions in this one either. But I think Miami, what they're putting together with Mike McDaniel, I think that's going to be. Sadly, I think it's going to be special.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with Tua back, they might start to go on a little bit of a roll here.
Yeah, definitely. Arizona, Minnesota. Oh, it's down at 3.5 now. It was Minnesota by 4. I wrote this up for picks wise. I'm taking the Vikings and I'm laying the points. I don't believe in Arizona. I really don't. And I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. Fine, they want to force feed targets to DeAndre Hopkins and kind of phase everybody else out. I don't know. Offensive line is banged up still, so Vikings coming off the bye week. I preferred it when it was. It's funny. I preferred it when it was -4 because I was just like, oh, it's -4. Vikings can cover that. Now all of a sudden it's like 3.5, and I'm like, I hate the half point, even though it's in the direction of my favor. But there's just something about when you see that half point in there. But I'm taking the Vikings. I'm laying the points.
I'm taking the Cardinals. I don't like the Cardinals at all. This is, to me, just feels like a trap game where you're looking at the Vikings coming off a bye and how good their record is. And I think they have a lot of flaws. They allow a lot of big plays. They really struggle against number 1 wide receivers. So I could see Hopkins having a good game. And Kingsbury's way better as an underdog. You never want him as a favorite, but he's been good as an underdog, especially on the road. So I think there's going to be a tight game. So I'm taking the points here with the Cardinals.
All right. I hope you lose.
Okay.
Panthers, Falcons. Falcons favored by 4. You want to talk about a game I just don't want to touch? This is that game.
Yeah, for sure. The Panthers definitely played inspired football last week. Atlanta doesn't want to pass the ball at all, which is killing Pitts in London in fantasy leagues. Uh, I know Atlanta has a lot of injuries. AJ Terrell could be out, right? Shit. I'll. Uh,
Give me your super confident pick here.
I think I'll go Falcons right now. But again, another game that I really don't feel strongly on a lot of games right now. I need to do some more digging because I don't. There's a lot of games where I'm just. That's what the NFL has done to me this year, man. They've dented my confidence.
Oh, oh, you guys have damaged Adam Ronis' psyche. That's not good. That's not good. Sorry, Adam. I hate this game. I hate everything about it. I hate the fact that Atlanta doesn't throw the ball at all. Like, you're down 3 scores and you're running the ball with Algier.
Yeah, makes no sense.
0 cents. 0 cents. So, it's gonna pay me to. I don't even know. I'm not even making a pick. Bears, Cowboys. I don't know, man. Bears on the road when they're an underdog by 8 or more points at them, they really certainly turn things around.
Yeah.
Do you want me to handicap this one?
I go ahead.
Just asking you if you wanted me to do it first, or if you wanted to dive right in. I don't particularly care. I think the Cowboys win this one, and I think that they beat everybody up. And I think a lot of people are going to take the Bears and the points. This Dallas defense, dude, it's insane. This has got to be one of the best defensive units you've seen in a while.
Yeah, man. I mean, that defensive line swarms. Micah Parsons. If you're playing an IDP league, there was a stat correction. He was awarded another sack today. So if you had a close matchup and you had Parsons, he now had 2 sacks this past week. Yeah, they're just really applying the pressure and beating up on teams. So and then Chicago's coming off a real emotional win. Chicago hasn't really gotten blown out this year. I will say that they lost by 17 in Green Bay week 2. Besides that, their losses are by 8, 7, and 5. So as bad as they have been, and their defense has been pretty good. I know they traded Quinn to the Eagles today, but yeah, I guess I'll go the Cowboys. But I could see the Bears playing it close. And they finally did some positive things with Fields rolling him out more. And I saw it too in the pocket. He was like 7 of 14, but when he was rolling out, much better. And I don't know. We talked about that last year with the coaching staff, how they didn't utilize him correctly. And we thought, okay, they're going to do it this year. Why is it taking so long, man? Just get him running on the outside. He's such a threat. He's great on the ground. And that's the thing with all these quarterbacks struggling in fantasy. Fields is going to become viable now because if he gives you 175 and 1 passing touchdown and he rushes for 50, 60, 70 yards and maybe 5, that's going to be better than a lot of these quarterbacks.
It is going to be better than a lot of these quarterbacks. Listen, I was sitting there. I had to pick up a quarterback because of bye weeks, and I was like, in one league, I was like, "Man, there's nobody there." And I was like, "Do I go with like a Heineke? Do I go with Ellinger?" And Ellinger at least has the rushing ability, or at least a little bit of upside to actually run the ball. And I just kind of tilted in that direction. I don't know how he's going to do, but overall, I figured if I'm going to give myself a little bit of a floor, if this kid wants to be the hero, at least let me get a couple extra points out of it if I can. What do you think of
Yeah.
him? I haven't even gotten to that game yet. It's one of the afternoon games, but I might as well just touch on that now. Commanders Colts, Heineke versus Ellinger. It's the Colts are favored at home by 2.5.
I am going to take the Commanders here, take the points.
No faith in Ellinger?
No, it's not that. It's just I don't know. It could be really good. He could get the ball to Pittman. The run game could open up because the thing with Matt Ryan is he just doesn't have the arm strength anymore, and the defense is Mike Pittman doesn't have a target over 20 yards this year. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's a statue back there, so it could help the offense. It's just that, you know, wait, you said it's 2.5?
2.5.
Is it
Yes.
2.5? Okay, I thought it was 3. I see it. It's 3 on some books. If it's 3, I'm taking Washington. If it's 2.5, I'll take the Colts. I see it 3 on FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars. I think it's 2.5 on DraftKings, but it's 3 in a lot of other books.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the 2.5 points that I don't want to deal with in Denver and Jacksonville. Samesies on that one. All right, what game am I looking at? I think I just scrolled way too far. Raiders Saints. Saints are at home. They're the home dog, 1.5. Damn. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a tough one, man. Saints have just been, they could have won last week. If it wasn't for the 2 pick sixes, I think they probably would have beaten Zona, but Raiders obviously need this win to get back in the playoff race, and they've had a lot of close losses. They've really struggled on the road. They got to go west to east. I lean the Raiders right now. I mean, I lean the Raiders, but I'm not strong because I can definitely see the Saints winning. Saints are not out of this division, believe it or not. They're 2-5, but Tampa is 3-4. So, they're still in this divisional race somehow.
Thoughts on the benching of Jameis Winston?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that.
Due to performance too. It wasn't even like he's all banged up and stuff. Nope.
Yeah, but he really.
Dennis Allen came out and said it's because of performance.
But we haven't seen him since that Saints game,
right?
And he threw like the 3 picks late. But Dalton just threw 2 pick sixes last week. I think one of the interceptions wasn't his fault. It was off. Was it Callaway's hands? I think. But yeah, it's such a weird situation down there. Landry's like a ghost. Michael Thomas is a ghost. Like, are these guys ever going to play again? Why weren't they put on IR? I mean, I get you can't predict everything, but it's like they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Thomas comes back at all this year.
I don't think he wants to play, man. It feels like he doesn't want to play. I haven't seen any comments from him or nothing, but it's just what the fuck is going on, man? You had 7 surgeries, like your toe, wasn't it his toe? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Right? It's just I don't know, man. It's something very odd going on down there.
Something very odd going on down there. I give you 100%. 100%. What do I got next? Titans, Texans. I got to be honest. Like I looked at this originally, and I had to say I was surprised that it was only a 2-point game, and that kind of made me. What's that?
You know why it's only? You thought it would be more, right?
I did think it would be more.
You know why it's only 2?
Why?
Tannehill status.
Yeah.
Because I'm surprised he came back in the game last week. I don't know, man. I'm kind of thinking he doesn't play, but if it's only, I got to take the Titans. And look, I did not love this team going into the year, but the one concern I had, there was 2 concerns I had why I'm like, I could be wrong on them. Mike Vrabel is a hell of a coach. He's never had a losing season. He gets those guys to play hard because you look at this roster, it is not good. It's Derrick Henry and a bag of shit on offense. Okay. But this team, and the other reason was that division is shit. So if you have a really good coach in a bad division, you could come out of it. And it's looking that way now. They've already beaten the Colts twice. And now they got another easy matchup this week. So I'm going to take the Titans. Again, Vrabel, just a hell of a coach. He coaches them up every single week. They play hard. So again, you look at it on paper, you're like, how is this team doing it? People like, Well, this team last year was the one seed. Is a completely different team. Completely different team.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive line is
Yeah, the
definitely
offensive line's not
changed.
as good. And AJ Brown was a huge loss. And Vrabel didn't want him to go. He was pretty upset about it. But this offensive line, I mean, with no AJ Brown, it's a huge loss. You have no one that threatens the defense. Robert Woods coming over 20 ACL at age 30. Like, come on, man. And then you lose Treylon Burks. They keep doing it. It's amazing. For real. I mean, Vrabel's
Well,
a
in
hell
this
of a
one
coach.
here, I mean, it's Tennessee versus Houston, and we all know that everybody just runs on Houston. I said it
Yeah. So
in the watch list. I'm like, Derrick Henry's going to be 95% owned.
yeah, I think
In
I had him right. Yeah, I think he's my number one RB this week.
yeah,
But
I mean, it's going to be crazy, and but then obviously I look at with the Texans, and it's like I respect Lovie Smith, and I respect the job that he's doing. Um, they will still run the ball with Damian Pierce. It's kind of why I like the I feel like we're going to see a lot of running early on, but I think Derrick Henry's just too powerful, and I think that Houston's run defense is that poor. But I think that this game, not a track meet, but I think I have it as I picked the over in this one here, because
yeah,
these two teams do play each other a bunch like that. But if Derrick Henry's just running, and then you're going to have Davis Mills throwing against a pretty shitty secondary for Tennessee, like a really shitty secondary. I know that Brandon Cooks hasn't had a good season. I know that Nico Collins is banged up.
he's not going to play.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's expected to be.
Yeah, he's not going to miss the season. Okay, well, the rest of the season, yeah, that's really a good endorsement. Thanks.
But overall, I feel like these two teams are going to bang back and forth, and maybe it's Cooks, and maybe it's Philip Dorsett, or maybe this is another one of those games where stupid OJ Howard gets a touchdown or something. But I feel like we'll see a lot of running in the first half, and then the Titans will keep going with Derrick Henry and try to chew up that clock and bring in that Dontrell Hilliard. But yeah, I think Houston tries to put some points back up on them as well. But I still have Titans minus the 2, no doubt. No doubt. Giants Seahawks. I feel like I want the Seahawks at home and lay the 3. I know what the Giants are doing is great, and I think that there's a lot of great stuff going on. Saquon Barkley running against this Seahawks team is going to be really tasty. I think Daniel Jones with the short, quick passing, that Wan'Dale Robinson is now a good, solid target. Darius Slayton to stretch the field a little bit. I love what the Giants are putting together. I just feel like even with the loss of DK Metcalf, I feel like Seattle at home with Geno chucking the ball like he does, I feel like they win this battle.
I'm tired of betting against the Giants and losing. But I kind of with you here. I mean, the Giants have a couple injuries too. Evan Neal, pretty big injury there. Bellinger, not a huge injury, but he was being productive. So, but no DK Metcalf also for Seattle. Seattle's played great too. I lean Seattle, but I'm scared of going against the Giants. They just seem to have magic every week. They're trailing and they keep coming from behind. Maybe this week it stops, but I'll lean Seattle too. But it's tough betting against them.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I'll be rooting for him still, because that'll just keep my wife happy, and that keeps me happy. Niners, Rams.
Niners.
In Los Angeles, -1.5.
These teams played already, didn't they?
Earlier this season, I feel like they did.
Yeah, I think they did, right?
Looking at the Rams right now. Yeah, the Niners won 24-9.
I just think they're a better team. I know it's a divisional game and a home underdog, which I tend to like. But I'm going to take the 49ers here, man.
Christian McCaffrey. Oh, that all went down after we had done the show already. What do you think of what do you think of the McCaffrey and all the fallout from that, from both fantasy and reality standpoint?
I think he's going to get less volume compared to Carolina, but I think it's a more efficient offense that should give him more scoring opportunities. So I think it kind of nullifies itself, and he's kind of where he was. But yeah, he'll be fine. It looked good last week on limited touches. And again, especially if Debo's out this week, they'll need him a little bit more. I mean, it's just such a good offense, man. I know Garoppolo can be shaky at times, but Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey, that's insane. So I know they're 3-4, but I think they're one of the best teams in the NFC, especially when they have that defense healthy.
Agreed on all counts. Sunday night game, Packers, Bills. Bills favored by 11 at home on Sunday Night Football. Again, I won't bet because I just don't like laying those kind of points, but I mean, I know that Buffalo's just going to beat them up.
Yeah, Rogers like, oh, this is what we need. Everyone's counting us out. No, you don't need to face the Bills right now. You really do not in Buffalo. I mean, that's the thing, man. This is scary to me because like everyone's going to be on the Bills. And I think this line actually has been bet down. Wasn't it 12, 11, 12 at one point? I think it was.
I didn't see it that high.
I see it 11 on DK Sportsbook, 11.5 on BetMGM. So yeah, I see it 11 in some spots.
I'm looking at it 11
on FanDuel. What?
I said it was 11 on DK.
Oh, I thought you said 10.5.
No, I did not. You're thinking you're thinking of that other game, that Steelers-Eagles game.
So here's the thing. Like my immediate when I said I was like, yeah, I'm taking the Bills, but I'm kind of scared now. I kind of feel like this could be a spot where everyone's on the Bills and we actually, I mean, I don't know how. Just like I couldn't give you if you said, give me a case for the Bears, I would have told you none. I have none. I don't see it unless New England turns it over 7 times at their own 5 and then Fields runs it in. Like I can't give you a compelling argument for Green Bay. They look terrible. Rodgers doesn't have confidence in some of these receivers. Lazard's probably not going to play. Dobbs is making mistakes. And Buffalo's coming off a bye and they tend to win big. So I can't give you a case for Green Bay, but I kind of have a feeling they might keep it close. But I can't put my money on Green Bay right now. I can't.
No, yeah, I can't do it either. And I agree with you. It's one of those situations. I mean, we deal with this all the time. We see it all the time when you're trying to handicap games. There are just some games that you just look at, right? It's a suspicious line. You worry about what a team's headspace is coming in. What was the one early on the season? Oh, we weren't even doing the show, and I was talking about the I guess it was the Broncos 49ers game in Denver. I think it was like week 3. And I was like, this line, just like if the Broncos are that bad and the 49ers are that good and Jimmy G is saving the day, why the fuck is this spread 1.5? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. And when I see something like that, it immediately just triggers me. And I'm like, done.
See, this line makes sense because I guess what's happened is the market has not really caught up to the Packers because like we've been seeing them as favorites and now it's finally caught up. Right now the market.
Right, but are they overcorrecting here?
I don't think so because Buffalo to me is the best team. And when Buffalo is big favorites, they tend to cover and pummel teams. Like a lot of people in week 2 were like, oh, how are the Titans the 10, 11 point underdogs? I'm like, I love Buffalo. Give me Buffalo. And they absolutely got pummeled. And we've seen Tennessee play well since then. But wait, what last week the Packers were I'm trying to remember now who they played. Oh,
against they played Washington.
Yeah, they were 5.5 point favorites on the road. Yeah. And then it's like, really? I know Washington's not that good, but like you trusted them with a 5.5 point as a favorite and they lost. And again, my problem too is I've watched them a lot and I see Aaron Rodgers dropping back to pass throwing deep. Like it's street football. I'm like, what are you doing? It's clearly not working. Your receivers are not getting separation. Why aren't you getting the ball to Aaron Jones? They finally did it last week in the passing game. He had 953 and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Dillon looks like shit.
Horrible. Horrible.
Yeah. I mean, so they just have a lot of issues right now. But then I'll hear some people be like, okay, fine, but look what Daniel Jones is doing. And he has no one. And that's a fair point. Like, I know Aaron Rodgers is going to sit here and like, oh, the receivers, but you're supposed to be an elite quarterback. And we know he's not the same as he was in his prime. But you can't make it work. Like, Daniel Jones is finding a way to get things done. And he's had no one the entire year. And I hate defending the Giants, but I got to be realistic here. I got to be realistic, right? I mean, they've had no one. Wando Robinson just stepped in, and he's a rookie, undersized, and I like him. But, Rodgers has had Lazard. Tunyon is okay. I mean, again, it's losing Devontae Adams I thought was huge for this team.
Dobbs and Watson, it's not a tandem that's getting it done.
Right. I mean, Watson's been banged up, barely played. Maybe he returns this week. I mean, Lazard's a huge loss too. So, but man, it's the NFL, bro. So I'm not surprised by anything. After what we saw last week, I'm just not going to be surprised by anything the rest of the year because those are two outcomes that I never saw coming. Tampa Bay losing to Carolina and New England losing at home.
Losing to Chicago.
Just can't. So would I be surprised if Green Bay won? Yeah, but maybe they play a close game. But I'm not putting my money on the Packers. I can tell you that.
Me neither. Let's wrap things up. Monday Night Football. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Big divisional matchup. Browns are the home dog, 3.5.
Yeah, give me the Bengals. They're finally playing well. Here's the thing. So the Bengals have frustrated the shit out of me this year because if you remember that game against Miami, that Thursday night game, all they did was run the football with Mixon, and he was picking up 2.5 yards per carry. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And every time Burrow dropped back to pass, big plays. He averaged 9.3 yards per pass attempt that game. And I'm like, why isn't Cincinnati just cut? And that game, I know you might go, well, the offensive line. Burrow was sacked one time in that game. And I think he said that's the cleanest pocket he ever had because they clearly had issues with the offensive line early in the year. But again, they went against the Steelers in week 1 with TJ Watt and the Cowboys in week 2. That's going to give most teams problems. And they even went against the Jets in week 3, but he was fine. I love what they did this past week. Come out and throw the fucking football. You have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Is Mixon good? Yes. He's not efficient this year, whether it's him or the offensive line. He averaged 3.4 yards a carry last week. And on the season, he is averaging, 3.3 yards per carry this year for Mixon. Okay? It's just not working. Keep throwing the ball. Look what happened last week. 34-42. Burrow had over 300 yards in the first half, 481 for the game, sacked 3 times. Okay. Boyd 155, Chase 130, Higgins 93, even Hayden Hurst. That's how the Bengals got to play. And I hope they continue to do it. Love what I saw last week. I know the Browns have not been good defensively, but stop forcing it to Joe Mixon. If it's not working, get the ball in your hands of your playmakers. So I'm hoping that they continue that next week because I love what I saw from them last week.
I almost always just tilt over to the home dog on Monday night. Almost always. And I think just with all of your excitement and exuberance about Joe Burrow and getting the ball into his playmakers' hands, I am going to say, give me all the Nick Chubb you can possibly give me. It's so funny. You can't even back the Browns with their passing offense. Losing David Njoku is going to be a big deal to them, whether they like it or not. I mean, I don't mind Harrison Bryant if you're playing in a fantasy league, but from a reality standpoint, it's a tough spot to be in here.
Yeah, I think that's Browns are last in DVOA defensively. I'm stunned how bad the Browns are defensively because this was a team the first 4 weeks, loved their schedule. I picked them up, and man, they just have not been good defensively. I know they've had some injuries, but they've been embarrassingly bad. So, I'm usually with you on the home underdogs on prime time. I can't do it. I think the Bengals are finally starting to play good football, and this is not the team that started poorly. They're really getting it going.
Yeah, no, their last 3 or 4 games in comparison to their first 3 games. Definitely a huge turnaround for them. Huge turnaround. 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm all in on the Bengals for DFS. I didn't go back to the well last week because I thought last week was going to be a Mixon week, and it turned into another Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I mean, these two are just the offense is definitely it's in a really nice groove, and it's going to take a couple of weeks before defenses really figure out how they can stop them. It's not going to be easy, especially when you've got. I mean, think about it, right? 200-yard receivers in Boyd and Chase last week, and a paltry 96 for T. Higgins. I mean, that's a trio of wide receivers I never want to face. Never. So
and they should be a pass first team. I mean, I know people have Mixon and they love him, and he's still going to get his touches because they're rolling offensively.
Use the pass to set up the run. I don't care about that. Just use Mixon to close out the eat up the clock in the second half. That's perfectly fine.
And
Joe
even
Burrow,
even as inefficient as Mixon was last week in fantasy, he still had 17 points.
Yeah.
Because in this offense, he'll get the opportunity to finish drives with a touchdown.
So there you have it, sports fans. There's NFL Week 8 in a nutshell for you, in a nice little nutshell, an hour and 20-minute nutshell.
Yeah.
One day we'll speed this up. No, we probably won't. But that is going to do it for us, and we thank everybody for liking and subscribing the new Cash It podcast. And as always, listen, you got questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions. He's at Adam Ronis on Twitter. I'm at RotoBuzzGuy. You can also hit me up, Howard at FantasyAlarm.com. So with that, I'm Howard Bender for Adam Ronis. This has been the Cash It podcast. We'll catch you next time.